So I think I'll talk a little bit about more of how I got a hold got to know you. So obviously, like I said, I was scrolling, and I was just trying to find people to follow who do jujitsu because I was getting into jujitsu. I think I came across a video of you like dancing at a tournament, and I just kind of thought that was like the energy that I was looking for. Because, like I said, like I didn't want to follow the Gracies or anything like that. I wanted to follow people who love jujitsu, and it seemed like they liked it for the same reason I liked it. So I saw that you were just kind of having fun. You were being yourself. You were, trying to, either get into the zone of your fight, or, you were doing something for yourself that was not relevant to the world, but the world took a look at you doing it and they recorded it. And that's how I got to know you. So at that point, I guess, were you already kind of well popular, or was that kind of a tipping point for you to get some popularity?
That's what kind of blew me up a little bit. Yeah, I'd say that was my like kind of break into the jujitsu world a little bit. Like obviously I train with like people who are very famous in jujitsu, but I wanted to bring the energy I bring on in an improv show, like a performance. And so once I started thinking of, because I came to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't care if I win or if I lose. I just want to be able to perform and to show that like I have a good jujitsu and to show that like I have fun at this and I loved it and I love this. So I started to look at it as a performance aspect. And so dancing and listening to and literally all the songs that I listen to are like so corny and they're like people would be like, why? Like I think that video I was listening to Evacuate the Dance Floor by Cascada or whatever her name is. And I remember just being like, just like getting myself into that space, and I was so close to winning. I ended up getting silver that tournament, but the flow grappling guy recorded that, posted it, and then like I remember when went back to my Instagram, I had like 3,000 followers or something, and I was like, holy shit, like what happened?
Another thing that he does too, which I thought was kind of goofy, because I said the other gym doesn't do warm ups, and this guy does warm ups. But I've also heard about other gyms that do these warm ups. But all the exercises that we were doing, even though they were like, damn, this shit's fucking tiring, and what's the point of this shit? Like, I'm just swinging my ass and my hips across the floor for fucking 20 minutes. Like, what am I doing? And so it wasn't until I was trying to get better and I was able to get out of shit that I realized, like, oh, I'm doing the fucking exercises. So when people were like on top of me and I was trying to get off of me, I would do the exercise. I would push off and throw my ass up to like get out from their legs, or And so then, like, oh, when people were on my back, but I didn't want to roll, I wanted to get up off of my back, like off of the ground. Like, I wouldn't just like get up. I would do a bear crawl. I would push up and get into a bear crawl, and then try to get them off whatever way I could try to get them off. But it was so weird. And I remember there was a moment where I was like, "Oh shit, this is like Karate Kid, man! I'm fucking wax on, wax off in this motherfucker right now." Have you had any experiences of that? Of like, I don't know what you guys do in the gym, but have you ever had like your aha moments?
Yes, so many times that like there's been so many moments where either you get the move that you've been drilling or learning, and I remember especially in the beginning I'd be so excited, be like, oh my god, I got that move, that I would freeze, and then now the person's on my back, so I've learned now to like practice continuing after being excited about getting a move. But yeah, like we also do warm-ups, and all the warm-ups that we do, like now I have a better understanding because it's like some of the warm-ups you're like, how is that related to jujitsu, or how is that something? And then sometimes they'll show you, they'll be like, hey, this move is the exact same when you're trying to do this, so it's like I think that's what's important about the solo drills and the warm-ups is like you're practicing the movements you're going to need and you're going to use and to train your body, because like if you think about it, most humans, all we do is sit, walk, stand, lay down, sit, walk, stand. Nobody really learns how to use their hips and use their core in these ways that you need to in jujitsu, because you need to be able to manipulate your body in ways that like you're never going to see somebody doing hipscapes down the street, like that's something that people don't do, and so it's always, sometimes it's so because now it feels now I'm like, okay, I understand how my hip needs to work, So it's like sometimes when it's a brand new person and you're trying to show them like, no, you do this, you need to do this hip skate, push your hip out to the side, and they just don't get it. It's like, oh my God, it's like, but that was me in the beginning. I just didn't get it. I'm like, what is this? And it's like, that's why it's like the practice of it, like over time, you're going to understand your body's going to have those natural reactions built into where someone's passing your guard, you're already bringing your leg, you're already shrimping out, you're already doing these things. So, there's I love whenever we're doing a technique and I'm able to get that in the rolls or live, and I remember there's one aha moment that I had when I first started training with my current professors. And I remember it was like the first time I trained with one of them, and we're training, and then she swept me, and then she just goes to me in the middle of the roll. She goes, "Why did you accept it?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Why did you accept the sweep?" And I was like, "Oh my God, you can fight back and not stay on the bottom." Like I remember like my mind own. I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "No, you don't have to like accept being swept. You can fight to stay back on top." And I was like, "Oh my God." And like there's been so many of those little moments that like that's one big one that sticks out, especially with my current professors, Luana and Anna Carolina, where I'm like, they say some things or they do some things where I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Like I remember my life changed after that moment. I was like, you don't have to let the person sweep you, like that's not this whole thing. They're like, no, you can fight to stay on top. It's like she probably swept me and didn't even try to go on top, and I just probably was laying on the ground. I don't even know, like, remember what it was, but I just remember like my mind was blown. It was like, oh my God, like, okay, I'm understanding the rules of the game, like, or how to play this game. So yeah, I think that's what's so cool about jujitsu is like you just get to learn, and you always get to learn. You get to be better, and you get to be better than yesterday. And sometimes maybe you're not better than yesterday, but that's the goal. Just be a little bit better than you were the day before.
What was one of your like biggest like stumbling stones when you first started? Like for myself was getting beat up by a 15-year-old. I was like, this is so embarrassing, man. Like this 15-year-old just whooped my ass and there was nothing I could do about it. Like this and it didn't help like but in my and then I tried lying to myself, like, oh, like it's just cuz I'm out of shape and I haven't been running and this kid's been doing this his whole life. Um but then I was just like, nah, I just need to be more disciplined and be more consistent and go. Um so there's just kind of these small hurdles of excuses not to continue. Did you have any of those?
Definitely, especially like when I first started, not so much. Then when I got my blue belt, I remember was the first time I decided to compete at Worlds. And I remember I went there, I won my first match, and then I lost my second match in like 30 seconds. And then every competition since then, I kept losing in the first like 30 seconds, or minute. And I remember it was to like yeah, like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. And I was like, at the time I was 20, so I'm 32 now. So I remember just being like, this isn't fair. Like, they started when they were 4 years old. Like, I started when I was four, I would be this. And so I of course had that, like, where it's like, man, like that's not, like, and I used to be, then I was like so happy when I could compete the masters divisions where I'm like, okay, now it's somebody my age and it's not this like freaking 16-year-old person. But then once in my towards my purple belt, I started being like, you know what? Screw these kids. I'm gonna go out there and fight in the adults division. Why not? See where I hold up, so my mindset has changed and now it's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna show you, hey, like this 30-year-old just beat you, or is able to hang with you, even if you started when you were four, like, uh, I'm fresh. I don't have years of training on my body yet. I'm still, so I'm like, it's okay. But I've definitely had those points where it's like, man, that's not fair. I don't know. My mind's always been like, this is fair or not fair. And I used to be very like, this is so unfair that you've been training since you were a kid and I'm here starting at 27. Like, how is that, how is this equal? But, now it's a challenge for myself that I can be like, you know what? Like, okay, I just need to go in mentally preparing, like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I know my competitors, level is or whatever. So, but it's definitely was a challenge in the beginning. I never wanted to like quit, but my emotions definitely would sometimes get the better of me where I'd just get super emotional or super upset about something. But now I'm able to work through that a little better than the beginning. But yeah, I think everybody goes through that, you know, or whether it's that or something different, you know, a big injury happening and not wanting to go back, or, you know, because I definitely, some of my injuries, I had fears going back. Like I remember when I popped one of my knees, I remember I would sit in the training and watch people train, and I'm like, oh my God, everyone's body, like your knee, how is it going that way? Oh my God, can I do this again? And then, you know, I was able to do it again. And now I put my body in such weird positions, but it's fine, you know, because it's like, I think it's important too to trust the people you train with and to trust your, you know, professors that they're not here to hurt you, you know, they're not here to try to really show that they're better than you, you know, we're here trying to make each other better. And, you know, I think if you can't trust your training partners, then maybe there's something wrong there, you know. So
Mm.
I've been really lucky and that, you know, all the people that I train with, I trust my professors, I trust, you know, my gym and my school, and I trust what they're, the product that they're creating and putting out there. So I think that's really an important thing too, is to trust, you know, the process, but also trust who you're surrounding yourself with, and knowing that like, oh, this guy's not just here beating me up because he wants to make his ego feel better, you know. um and also for myself, I have to be like, okay, where I have to check my ego sometimes, you know. So I think as long as you can keep yourself in check, uh and clean your side of the street, you know, for everything and anything, like, and see like, are these things that want to make that make you want to quit, or these feelings like of, man, me fighting these 16-year-olds, like what is that really about, you know? What is that really about inside yourself? Like, and if you can honestly sit there and look at yourself and look at what that might uncover, then, you know, you grow as a person, you know, and you're able to continue, and you're able not to let that help you quit. Because there's definitely been times in my journey where it's like there was a turning point. It's like, am I either gonna just let this moment help me let me quit, or am I gonna continue, you know? And so only you can decide that and know which direction you're gonna go and what you're gonna let these thoughts or feelings control.
I think another thing about this gym that I like, I hope nobody thinks I'm trashing this gym. I love this gym. I just know that the shit that he does, other people don't like it, but I fucking love it. I think it's hilarious. He beat me up like one time, not like beat me up like a fight, but when I first started, he was it was, what class was it? I think it was the, yeah, it was the boxing class. So the boxing class, he was kind of beating me up, and then we went to jiu-jitsu, he beat me up, and then again when we got to MMA, he just combined all the ass whoopings and really whooped my ass at
Mm-hmm.
that point. And I kind of felt like, what an asshole, man. This guy fucking beat me up. Like, I tapped out. He kept hitting me. I told him, hey, no, 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 no. Like, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. He's just like, boom, 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 boom. And he's just hitting me. Nothing crazy. He wasn't like going full, you know. He's just tapping me, kept tapping me. But I had already given up. So I was like, this fucker fucking keeps tapping me, man. To the point where I was like rolled over on my side, like trying to cover my head. And he just kept tapping me. And I was like, this guy is a fucking dick, man. Like, I don't think I want to, I don't want to fucking train here, man. This guy's going to hurt me. But then I got home, you know, and I told everybody I was sitting in the shower all fucking, you know, trying to get all the soreness out and just washing and just like reflecting on the ass whooping I received. And then I had a thought and I was like, you know what? If I'm not going for tournaments, I'm going to being able to defend myself and to get into shape. But it'd be nice to be able to defend myself, you know, or it'd be nice to learn to get in shape while I learn to defend myself. But I was like, if I was defending myself in a situation like that, I can't tap out. You know, there's no tap in a fight. And I mean, unless you're a really nice person and someone just stops for whatever reason attacking you for whatever reason they were attacking you for. Um, so I started thinking of it as that way. Now this wasn't like a thing that he does all the time. Like he if you tap, he'll leave you alone. You know, it was just that day he just thought it'd be funny to keep messing with me, and it was a hurdle for me where I was like, no, that's not fair. I don't like that, or you know what, he took advantage of me, and then and then now I came to realize it's like, no, you know, it's probably for the best, and it was a good lesson in, if you're here to learn to defend yourself, don't stop defending yourself. Continue to defend yourself because this is a fight. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, how true that is, I don't know, but that's kind of what I told myself, and I just kept going, and it was fine. He also does this other random thing where if you don't wear his logo. So he has like t-shirts that he sells. He sells all kinds of shit. He sells shoes, t-shirts, sweaters, beanies, rash guards, all this shit that has like his gym name on it, which I see other gyms have that. He has a lot of it here and there, like different kinds, wristbands, all this shit. So if you're not wearing something that his is his logo, he makes you do 50 push-ups. And so at first I was just like, whatever. I needed a shirt anyways to work out, so I bought a couple t-shirts, whatever. And I was like, fine. And then I think it wasn't until like I got into it and I was just showing up at that point. I wasn't really thinking about what it costs, like the time, the injuries. I was just like, I need to go and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be there. When I got into that mentality and I started seeing like kids, like I saw parents and kids like, um, oh, he's just trying to take money from us. You know, he's making us buy all this shit. And then I kind of thought about that, and I was like, that's not true. You're choosing to buy it. The choice is wear his logo or do 50 push-ups. You didn't want to do 50 push-ups, so you bought his damn beanie, you bought the shoes, you bought the sweats, you bought the sweater because you don't want to do 50 push-ups. So instead of letting your child get stronger or instead of you getting stronger, you paid to avoid the pain. And I guess that's how I see it. I know if other people still don't see it as that, they see it as like this guy's just trying to come up. I was like, no, he's coming up on you avoiding your pain, you avoiding your growth, you avoiding the whole reason why you came here is why he's profiting. You don't have to do it. It's not an obligation. You just either do 50 push-ups or wear a logo. You chose to wear the logo and not get stronger. I don't know. What's your thought on that? I guess. What's your 2 cents on that? Mind you, you'll never meet this guy. He's a male. You never have to compete against him.
No, at our school, you have to like your gi needs the logo just because it's like we treat our school more of a school rather than like a Planet Fitness where you can come wear any mix match gi, any this like so ours is very like uniform. So
Mhm.
I like sense about feeling like you belong somewhere and you got a uniform and everybody's wearing the same thing, which is nice because it's like you don't come into the gym and you're like, oh my God, why do you have this brand new gi? Now I want a brand new gi, like whatever it is. But they will, if like you don't come with the logo, they'll sometimes like make you pay for not wearing the logo, like, yeah, do whatever, burpees, push-ups, whatever it is, but it's not like a profit thing to make you buy anything. So,
It's about
but
discipline.
huh?
It's about disciplining yourself, having your gi ready, getting home, washing
Yeah,
your gi,
having like
hanging it
looking
up to
nice.
dry, like
Yeah,
looking forward to your
yeah.
day and your week. Like you're not living in the moment no more. Now you need to be prepared for your next class. You need to do your stretches. You need to take your vitamins, do your recovery, do your ice bath, do what you need to do to achieve your goal. Again, and that comes back to your jobs, your occupation, like it's not about clocking in and clocking out. I mean, some jobs are like that. There's not really much you can do about it. But in careers, you're trying to move up. You're trying to do certain things. So it's like, what can I do to better prepare for tomorrow so that when I go into that meeting, people look at me like a rock star, but they don't know that I was up early in the morning before you. I was up late after you went to bed. Um, and I just drank a monster before I walked in that motherfucker, and I looked like I was a rock star and shit. And I had all my shit together, but you don't know. It's not that I'm better than you. It's just I was willing to put in more work than you.
Yeah, so I mean, I like when gyms have their own little thing. You don't want to buy the logo, 50 push-ups, that's cool. We have if you leave something in the gym, it needs to pay the rent. So to get whatever you left back, it's $1. So it's like and I'm the police, so I'm always like I'll send a picture of the water bottle and be like, "Who owes this money?" So it's like I like those little things and I like when gyms can have like a characteristic to themselves which is like of that gym. Like I don't know if he does that with visitors. If you visit the gym and he's like, well, you to come in, you gotta pay your drop-in fee, 50 push-ups, or buy my t-shirt. I don't know if he does that, but it's kind of funny and it would be like a characteristic. Some people would be like, all right, I'm out of here, but I think I would be like, oh, that's funny. Like is that's your thing? Okay, because we have our things. You got to pay your rent if you leave something, and if it's if it's a rash guard, we're probably just gonna throw it away because that's gross, you know? Like, so
Um,
everyone's got their own, so
for guests,
support you.
he's never. I think he just charges them. I think it's like whatever the drop-in fee is. I think he charges that, and he doesn't require them to wear anything. It's only if you're going to be like a student there and a member there. Um, so yeah, I haven't had that with guests, but he does do that, and I do catch like parents like making a big deal about it. But I'm just like, I'm always in the back of my head like, you don't have to buy it. He just requires that you do
Mhm.
50 push-ups when you walk in, and sometimes he doesn't even require you to do it like right up. He'll just tell you like at the end of class, go do it, and
Mhm.
you'll see those kids like you'll see the even the adults, man, they're like sneak out and they leave and they think they got away with it. They go and the next day and then they're like, oh yeah, I didn't do my push-ups. He doesn't even realize I didn't do the push-ups. He knows, he has
Yeah.
cameras, and he shows me and he'll be like, because I get along with the guy, we again we have similar like habits, I guess. And so like we just kind of always do random shit, so we talk about all the random shit we do and the people we know. And so he'll show me on his phone. He'll be like, "Hey, remember I told Luis to do 50 push-ups? The little shit didn't do it, man. He was supposed to take out the trash. He fucking booked it as soon as his mom pulled up. He just jumped in his fuck, put his slippers on, and got the fuck out of here. He thinks I don't know, and I'm not gonna say nothing because it's not about me. It's about him. It's a
Mhm.
reflection of him.
Yeah.
Is he gonna respect me? Is he gonna do what I tell him? Does he, it, or is he gonna always look for the fucking easy way out?" And I was just like,
Mhm.
fuck. Like this guy, it's just deeper where you go. Like the way he does his gym is just it's just deeper. He has this stupid shit where he tells kids some of the kids sometimes like I said the kids are running around, they step on people and shit. And so what he'll do if they start don't listen to him or they do something or they go around the corner and try to hide or something because they're tired, he'll pull them into the middle of the gym and he'll have them do 1,000 push-ups in front of everybody. Nobody's gonna do 1,000 push-ups, but he just wants to see how long will you keep trying to do those fucking push-ups. Because you'll see kids like they'll do 3 or 4, and then when he's not looking, they'll stop and they'll just wait, and then when he turns around, they'll start doing the push-ups again. And so they just do that for like 10, 15 minutes, and he'll be like, "All right, how many you do?" He's like, I did them all. And it's like, okay, all right, go back to the exercises. But you didn't do a fucking 1,000 push-ups, you lying sack of shit. But for him, it's more just like just to see where you're at, like where's your mind at.
Yeah.
At least that's how I read
Yeah.
it. Who knows? Maybe he's just an asshole. um, so we're gonna wrap up this conversation.
No, I
I really
think
enjoyed talking to you about all the different stuff. I know you talked about how this has played a part in your recovery. We've talked about how long you've been doing jujitsu, your nickname, how you came to be La Chopsticks. Do you have any goals for this year, as far as when it comes to yourself or
um
jujitsu?
yeah, I'm trying to think or decide if I want to do Nogi Worlds. I think I want to. I'm just working on getting sponsors for it because I feel like I'm so close to, winning gold, winning a final that I don't want to slow my momentum down because I got Pans, I got second, and then World Master, I got second. So I'm like, I feel like I have a good momentum going. So I'm like, I want to keep that momentum. So that would probably be one of my only jujitsu goals for the remainder of this year. And then next year, I want to do all the big tournaments again, like I've been doing, just to keep it going and to keep seeing how I'm progressing and to see this new belt, because this will be my fourth or fifth competition at brown belt. So it's exciting because now all the submissions are legal. Like now I have to be aware of my legs, so it's cool
Blade.
and it's yeah, so now I have to be aware of my knees, my toes, everything. And so it's cool to see what's been missing in my game, which is what I've been realizing is I leave my legs out a lot for people to attack. So now I'm like, oh shoot, I need to learn this. So that would probably be my only goal there. Um, and then I want to get back into my improv. I took a little bit of a break because I was concentrating on the competitions that I was doing. So probably this next couple of months, I'm gonna go back to my troupe, which is Playful Ensemble, and we perform in West Palm. So that, and then just to I'm trying to figure out a way of what I want to kind of do next. I think I want to go into some type of like motivational type speaking, whether it's to tell kids not to do drugs or whether it's to cater to that kid who's thinks they're unathletic or, feels so bad about themselves to show like, hey, there's a way out, like I'm an example of there being a way out of everything. Like you might think you're weak, but you're actually stronger than you think. So I'm still a little unclear of what I kind of want to do life wise. Right now I do pet sitting, I clean houses from time to time. So I'm also like a jack of all trades. Like I'll do a little bit of anything and everything, like whatever I can do. So I'm trying to think of a way to combine all the things that I love and make it also be a way that I can make my living and be profitable off of. So I've always wanted to be like have that YouTube channel with characters and stuff and be super successful there, but it's like something I know I just need to put time and effort into to make that happen, because I really believe I can make anything happen. I mean, if I could have been a drug addict for as long as I was and made money to get the drugs that I needed, like if I could figure that out, I'm like I could figure something out. So I could figure anything out, because that's a hard life to live. So I just know I gotta be a little more clear on what exactly I want and then just go for it, because I've already made so much happen with jujitsu that I've wanted. I've traveled with it. I was able to become a Hyperfly ambassador, and almost, like work up towards like having something in jujitsu and becoming something. And so I think I want to be able to combine my jujitsu, my recovery, and performing in some type of whole package deal. I don't know what yet, but I think that's just the goal is to just become a little more clear, win some gold medals along the way, learn a little bit about myself, and help the next person, help people uh, realize things about themselves that maybe they don't know that they can do or can be. So I would say that's probably the broad answer because I don't know the specifics yet. So
Have you ever been on a podcast before?
I
Because I looked at your stuff, but I
don't
was thinking, I was like, I haven't seen her on any like programs or any like YouTube or anything.
I did no, I did one podcast with one of my improv troops a while ago, and it was
Hmm.
just like an improv podcast during the pandemic. But I think that's the only thing that I've done. I
So
have
like,
my Ruth Ann seen her. She's kind of been missing though a little bit on Instagram. I have another page and it's a comedy page for jujitsu.
okay,
I'll send
yeah,
you check her
send me the
out.
link. Yeah, I have to check it out. It didn't because usually sometimes you add somebody and it'll automatically like show you their other pages, kind of, and you can just click on them.
Uh-huh.
No, that'd be cool to check that out. Um, I would love to know more about the improv and kind of the whole your situation with recovery and all that. I think I just wanted to concentrate on kind of just a little bit about you and jujitsu, but we definitely can do this again and get more into those details. So the reason I was talking about that was or commenting on that was because again, it's all just random people I've followed, right? And they're not necessarily people who are interested in being famous or people interested in podcasting or they just kind of have an Instagram for themselves for the stuff that they do. Everybody has an Instagram, I guess. And so I've been interviewing a few people, and one of the people I interviewed, he had never been on a podcast before, which I didn't really expect him to be on one, but he was a graffiti artist. And he lived in another country. I interviewed him. I think he's episode 10, Rancholo, which is a combination of the word cholo and ranch. So ranch cholo. Um, but he had never been on a podcast. He didn't even know why I wanted to talk to him. He was just kind of like, I don't even know why I said yes. I'm just kind of like more interested of why you even want to talk to me. Nobody cares about my
Uh-huh.
art. Like nobody cares about my art. He's like, are you confusing me with so and so? Like he just kept coming up with like, you got the wrong guy. Kind of, he's like, are you confusing me with this graffiti artist? I get that sometimes, and I'm like, no, like, you're this guy, right? He's like, yeah, and you do this art, and he's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I've seen it around, and like, I really like it, and he's like, okay. And then I've noticed that I haven't had this conversation with him. I'll probably now that I'm thinking about it, I'll message him. But in the last like month and a half when I interviewed him, recently this last week he's been doing talks. So he's been going to like universities and like art exhibit kind of where people just talk about their art and stuff. And he's been doing those things, and I was just like, oh shit! Like I wonder if like he just kind of like how you said you're trying to find yourself, and he was kind of talking about trying to find himself, and he was like, why are you interested in me? I was like, because you're interesting, fool. Like, you're interesting. You might not understand that you're interesting, but you're fucking interesting without trying. And so, he's like giving all these speeches now. He was at a university about a week ago, and then he was again at another presentation talking about his art, and he was promoting it. And so I was like, that's cool, man. Like he kind of realized that people do want to see him, and people do like his art, and he is an interesting person. Like, yes, there's plenty of great artists out there, and maybe you'd consider them greater and more interesting, but you at the time are more interesting. So it is what it is. So hopefully you find your thing, and maybe you can get the iceberg
Yeah.
boost. You can get the iceberg boost and get your name out
No,
there.
I was you asked me, I was like, do I like I was like trying to pinpoint you. I was like, have we met before? Because my friend during the pandemic, she has a tattoo studio and she opened up the Coop Comedy where she had a bunch of stand-up comedians come perform like they
Nice.
every month. Or actually like I forget how often the performances were, but we'd also do improv. And so I'm like, was he one of the guests that came? And then I'm like, I was trying to pinpoint. I'm like, I don't know how I know this person, but I was like, I'm down because I've had a few people, especially jujitsu, like different jujitsu things that have asked, like, hey, would you be down to be on this podcast? But none of them have kind of come through, and maybe that's not their fault, not my fault, but we've never like followed through. Especially when I first started making the Ruth Ann page, I kind of fell off of her just because I was feeling uninspired. But hopefully, maybe this will put me back on, find some inspiration to bring her back. But yeah, so I was like, I don't know how this guy knows me, but I mean, I'm down. I'm always down to do something, try something new, and see what happens out of it.
No, I think
Yes, and the improv motto and whatever. So, thank you for asking me. I've definitely enjoyed this, and I would definitely be down to do parts 2, 3, whatever else you'd be down to talk about.
yeah, definitely, man, and hopefully I get disciplined enough, and maybe I'll see you at a tournament or something, and we fucking bullshit about that, man. I have a art competition to get to, and I have 3 hours to finish the painting, so I wanted to get this interview done. I appreciate your time. I had a
Good luck.
great had oh, I'm not gonna win. There's great artists out there, and I'm assisting. It's not really my drawing. I'm assisting someone else. I'm just helping them with it. Um, but what was I gonna say? No, I appreciate the time, man, and you're having a positive day. You're being yourself, and the world looked back at you and they enjoyed it, man. So keep being positive, keep being a great person. We all have our ups and downs, but um, you're an awesome person, and so it was great talking to you, and we can catch up again later. Have a good one, all right?
Yes, you too. All right, bye.